The escape pod crashed through Earth's atmosphere like a falling star, its hull glowing red-hot as it streaked across the night sky above the remote mountain valley. Inside, Kira pressed herself against the acceleration couch, her violet skin pale with fear and exhaustion. The exile had been swift and merciless. One moment she stood before the high council of her homeworld. The next, she was being shoved into this cramped vessel with nothing but the clothes on her back. Her crime had been speaking truth to power, questioning the council's decision to abandon the outer colonies during the plague outbreak. For her defiance, they sentenced her to the cruelest punishment their species knew: banishment to the primitive world called Earth, where she would live among the savage humans until she learned proper respect for authority. The pod struck the forest floor with bone-jarring force, sending trees toppling and earth flying. When the ringing in her ears finally stopped, Kira emerged into the alien night, her enhanced vision revealing a world of strange beauty. 2 moons hung in the star-filled sky, and the air carried scents she had never encountered: pine, earth, and something else that made her hearts race with unexpected longing. 3 days later, weak from hunger and exposure, she collapsed beside a clear mountain stream. Her body, evolved for the controlled environment of her homeworld, struggled with Earth's chaotic weather patterns and unfamiliar pathogens. As consciousness faded, she wondered if this was how her story would end, alone and forgotten on a world light years from home. She woke to warmth and the gentle sound of crackling fire. A figure sat nearby, tending a small pot suspended over the flames. He was human, she realized with a start, though nothing like the brutal savages described in her people's records. Middle-aged, with kind eyes and weathered hands, he moved with quiet efficiency as he prepared what smelled like food. "You're awake," he said softly, not turning from his cooking. "I was beginning to worry." His voice held none of the aggression her people attributed to humans. Instead, she heard genuine concern, a quality that had been largely absent from her homeworld's sterile society. "I am Tom," he continued, ladling soup into a wooden bowl. "Found you by the stream yesterday. You gave me quite a scare, lying there, like that." Kira struggled to sit up, her body still weak but no longer racked with fever. Tom had built her a shelter of branches and his own coat, had tended her through her illness without asking for anything in return. The revelation struck her like a physical blow. "You helped me," she whispered, accepting the bowl with trembling hands. "Why?" Tom's weathered face creased in a gentle smile. "Because you needed help. Isn't that reason enough?" Over the following weeks, as her strength returned, Kira learned about human nature from Tom's example. He was a forest ranger, living alone, in a cabin miles from the nearest town, dedicated to protecting the wilderness around them. His days were filled with simple purpose: checking on wildlife, maintaining trails, helping lost hikers find their way home. But it was his evening stories that truly opened her eyes. He spoke of human history, of their struggles and triumphs, their capacity for both cruelty and extraordinary kindness. He told her about doctors who traveled to distant lands to heal the sick, about ordinary people who risked everything to save strangers, about communities that came together in times of crisis. "We're not perfect," Tom admitted one evening as they watched the sunset paint the mountains gold. "We make mistakes, sometimes terrible ones, but we keep trying to be better." Kira found herself sharing her own story: the sterile perfection of her homeworld, the rigid hierarchy that crushed dissent, the council's callous abandonment of entire colonies. Tom listened without judgment, offering quiet wisdom that gradually helped her see her exile not as punishment but as liberation. "Sometimes we need distance to see clearly," he said. "Maybe your council did you a favor, even if they didn't mean to." As seasons passed, Kira discovered capabilities within herself that her people's society had never allowed to flourish. She learned to tend Tom's garden, to help injured animals, to find joy in simple tasks done with care. Her enhanced physiology, intended for her species-controlled environment, adapted remarkably well to Earth's challenges. When other humans began visiting, hikers seeking Tom's guidance, researchers studying the local ecosystem, Kira saw the same pattern repeated. These humans showed compassion to strangers, collaborated without rigid hierarchies, and demonstrated the kind of innovative thinking her people's society actively suppressed. One day, as they sat beside the stream where Tom had found her, Kira made a decision that would have seemed impossible during her first days on Earth. "I don't want to go back," she said quietly. "Even if they offered, I wouldn't return." Tom nodded, understanding in his eyes. "This is your home now if you want it to be." Kira looked around at the forest that had become her sanctuary, at the human who had shown her what true civilization looked like. Her people had sent her to Earth as punishment, expecting her to suffer among primitives until she begged for forgiveness. Instead, she had found something her advanced civilization had lost somewhere in its march toward perfection: the simple recognition that caring for others, especially those different from ourselves, was not weakness, but the highest expression of strength. As she watched Tom skip stones across the water with the enthusiasm of a child, Kira smiled. Let the council keep their sterile perfection. She had found something infinitely more valuable among the humans they despised. She had found home.